It's time for America Outdoors Radio. The fast-paced hour of outdoors radio ahead is not only awesome, but unlike those other shows, you can actually sleep in for this one. Better still, we've got a special Pacific Northwest edition for you, sponsored by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, Rugged Point Lodge on Vancouver Island, and Northwest Fishing Guides out of our hometown here in Everett. You won't find this version of America Outdoors Radio anywhere else. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. Brought to you by Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Merry Christmas. We've got a great Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio for you this weekend. No, it's not a best of. We are giving you the regular stuff, and you're going to like it. We're taking you to Lake Chelan. That's where Anton Jones, the owner of Daryl and Dad's Guide Service, is going to tell you how to catch big Mackinaw at this time of year out of Lake Chelan. He'll do that in about half an hour. And at the end of the show, Anton will come back and tell you all about kokanee fishing in Lake Chelan. It's a great fishery, and it's going on right now. But first, let's talk about what's hot and what's not in the Pacific Northwest. The Skagit Wildlife Area has been hot for ducks and snow goose hunting. That's the word from staff at the wildlife area, who report they have been having a very good season in terms of both bird numbers and hunter success. I wouldn't call it hot, but I would say upland bird hunting is winding up. Pheasant and quail season has closed in western Washington, but remains open through January 16th in eastern Washington. Good bets for wild birds include farm fields around Othello and Warden, or the desert wildlife area, especially in the thick brush around Winchester and Frenchman's Wasteway. If you can hit these places after a fresh snowfall, so much the better. The same goes for forest grouse, which closes statewide on New Year's Eve. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife creel checkers found few boats at the launch ramps to check last weekend, and effort was light, probably because it's so cold out. However, one boat with 3 anglers fishing out of the Port Angeles public boat ramp came in with 2 blackmouth each, and 10 anglers checked at the John Wayne Marina at Port Angeles had 7 salmon. Another good area to fish from, the Everett boat ramp, where 10 anglers had 6 salmon. 4 anglers and 3 boats at the Point Defiance boat ramp didn't do any good for salmon, but some of them caught some sand dab, 15 of them to be exact. The cold weather kept most anglers off the Columbia River too, but those that ventured out had some success. Oregon creel checkers found in the John Day pool 1 oversized sturgeon released by 2 bank anglers, and 8 sublegal and 2 legal white sturgeon released for 2 boats. In the Dalles pool, walleye checking showed 9 walleye kept for 1 boat with 3 anglers. They had a good day on the water. And checking with NorthwestFishingReports.com, we found 1 angler had 2 incredible days of trout fishing and kokanee fishing on Lake Sammamish last weekend. On Saturday, he went out using a downrigger and 20 feet of water, caught 3 trout and a couple of kokanee. The second day, he went out with his kid and a friend, and in half a day of fishing, they caught 15 nice pan-sized trout and kokanee, and he posted the pictures to prove it. His tactic, trolling a Max wedding ring spinner behind a dodger from the surface down to 32 feet. Well done. And that's what's hot and what's not this Christmas week in the Pacific Northwest.
And with that, let's head to this week's national edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Looking for the safest, most stable riding boat on the market? Welcome to Stabicraft. Born in New Zealand, Stabicraft has a built-in reputation for making the most seaworthy boats on the market. Heavy-gauge aluminum chambered boats with models ranging from 14 to 29 feet in a variety of configurations to suit all your needs. Check out the all-new 2750 center cab, a walk-around design for the Northwest market and packed with industry-leading features to suit all types of fishing, allowing you to adventure with confidence. Book a test ride today at Stabicraft.com.
From the Columbia River to Puget Sound, the Coastal Conservation Association in the Pacific Northwest works to conserve the fish we love and does so while protecting our heritage of sport fishing. To find out more, go to ccapnw.org. Again, that's ccapnw.org.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
It is Christmas weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you and yours have a very Merry Christmas. Are you spending your holiday with family or friends? We are doing both this year, and I'll tell you what, we're grateful to do so. There was a time, though, as a young single man that I would take to the field for some fishing or hunting on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I have memories of being stationed in Colorado in the Army and looking for ducks on a big eastern Colorado reservoir, firing a total of one shot, and then coming back to the small farm town I was staying in on Christmas Eve only to find everything closed. I ended up getting a microwavable burrito, taking it back to my hotel room. That was my Christmas Eve dinner. What was worse is that the motel was mostly unoccupied and had the owner saving a few bucks by keeping the heat down. So I was chilly to boot. Oh, the memories, the Christmas memories. So what do we have on tap for you this Christmas weekend? Well, you'll be happy to know we are one of the few shows not running a best of program today. Nope. We've got all new content for you, and with hope and inspiration in mind for the holiday, I thought it would be a great time to talk to Tred Barta, the well-known outdoors television personality who found himself suddenly paralyzed from the chest down a few years ago. Many people would have given up on the outdoors and maybe even have given up on life. But not Tred. Nope, he still hunts, he still fishes, and he's got a new book coming out in January about his story called Driven. You're going to want to hear what he has to say. This being the end of the year, you may be thinking about some New Year's resolutions. One good one would be an Alaskan fishing adventure for 2017. If that's what you want to do, then you'll want to hear our conversation with Gary Kernan. He owns Alaska Fish on Charters, and he offers both freshwater and saltwater fishing off the Kenai Peninsula. Gary is a lot of fun to talk to. I think you're really going to enjoy the conversation we are going to have. And I really like the fact that we're talking about a place here where you can go fishing in the salt, you can go fishing in the freshwater, and have great opportunities for everything from halibut and lingcod to Chinook salmon, to sockeye salmon, to silver salmon, and pink salmon, and big rainbow trout too. You'll find it all on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. What else do we have? Well, I don't know about you, but when I'm planning an outdoors expedition or enjoying one, whether I'm hunting or hiking, I always like to have a good map with me. Call me a Luddite, but I just don't trust my smartphone and the GPSs I might carry with me because, sometimes you lose signal, sometimes the batteries die, but a map, it's always there for you. And Big Sky Maps have got some great ones made with hunters in mind, especially for those of you hunting in the Pacific Northwest. That's right, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Wendell Unruh with Big Sky Maps will tell you more about these, and I think you'll understand why I'm going to get some of these maps, and you may want to do the same. We've got news about the passing of an outdoors media legend far too soon, my take on some of the best lake trout waters you'll find in the western U.S., an online hookup site for coyote hunters, I kid you not, and a Trail of Shame segment featuring a dirty grandpa, his grandson, and what happens when you shoot at deer from the roadway. But before we get into all of this, I thought we'd share another possible New Year's resolution or dream with you. It's all about becoming a better shooter in the new year, and it's taking place in a great location that should be a whole lot of fun. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, it is the end of the year. That means you're probably thinking of some New Year's resolutions, and maybe one of them for you is to become a better shooter. Well, if that is what you want to do for 2017, we've got just the thing for you. It is the National Shooting Sports Foundation Fantasy Camp. It's taking place in April in Las Vegas. With us here to tell you more about it is Tisma Jewett. Tisma, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, the National Shooting Sports Foundation Fantasy Camp, tell our listeners more about this.
Well, the Shooting Sports Fantasy Camp brings together 7 of our top pros in the country: Randy Rogers, Robert Vogel, Tommy Thacker, Diana Muller, Ryan Muller, BJ Norris, and Chris Chang. And what they do is they will take everyday shooters and take them from where they are in their shooting sports and try to get them to be a little bit better.
So are we talking about pistol shooting? Are we talking about rifle shooting? What kind of shooting are we talking about here?
This particular camp will be only handgun shooting.
Okay.
We're going to be shooting at still targets. But the beauty of this camp is, once you pay your entrance fee and arrive in Vegas, we take care of everything else. Transportation from the airport to the hotel, transportation to and from the ranges, hotel accommodations, all meals, all shooting instruction, and all the 9mm ammo you can shoot while at camp.
Wow, I like it. So, folks, the dates for this fantasy camp are April 20th through the 23rd or April 23rd through the 26th. And you're going to be at a hotel and casino I'm not familiar with. It must be a new one. There's always new ones in Vegas. The Aliante. Tell me about that.
Oh, the Aliante Hotel, Casino, and Spa is actually way off the strip. So probably about a half hour from the strip itself and only 15 minutes from the Clark County Shooting Complex.
And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the Clark County Shooting Complex? This is one of the better ones in the country, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It is actually owned by the county of Clark County in Nevada, and it is a 5-star rated NSSF shooting range. They have rifle pistol shooting as well as a full sporting clays course, skeet shooting, and trap. Wow.
So, folks, this is a really pretty impressive deal. Again, you're getting hotel accommodations for 4 days, 3 nights. You're going to get instruction from some of the top professional shooters in the world for a weekend. Lots of handgun shooting, all the 9mm ammo that you can shoot up, and you're going to get some swag too, aren't you?
Yeah, each participant gets their own personalized shooting shirt, which has all the sponsors for Fantasy Camp on it, just like the pros. But I think what the great part about this, John, is that, you might go to a camp for, say, baseball or football, and you get to see the pros, but you don't necessarily take a snap from, say, Tom Brady. He's there waving. He may sign an autograph for you, but here at the Shooting Sports Fantasy Camp, you'll have access to all of these pros. You'll have meals with them. You'll hang out. You can ask them anything and everything you want, you ever dreamed of asking, and you'll learn that they're just regular people. They just happen to be really, really good at shooting.
Well, and that's something else that intrigues me about this, Tisma, is the fact that no matter what your level of competency is, you can get a lot out of this because you do have this one-on-one instruction with some of the greatest shooters that are out there.
Oh, absolutely. And, for those maybe new shooters, we don't want them to be intimidated. So what we do for the first day of camp is we actually break folks down by ability. So you'll have your kind of sort of beginner shooters in one group, and then you'll have your I want to be a pro group shooters in, like, say, group number 6, where those guys are trying to shave off, like, say, a quarter second off of their overall times. But for the second day, each of these groups will be combined. So each pro will have one from each of the 6 different groups so that all the teams are somewhat equal. And then they're going to go through and learn how to shoot stages as a team.
Wow. Folks, this sounds fantastic. Again, if you were looking to up your game when it comes to tactical shooting, the National Shooting Sports Fantasy Camp is probably for you. It's taking place 2 choices, April 20th through the 23rd or April 23rd through the 26th in Las Vegas, Nevada. The cost, $3,500, which sounds steep, but considering what you're getting, that's a pretty good price. Again, everything is taken care of. Transportation, hotel accommodations, meals, and some of the best instruction you're ever going to get. Is there a website or where do people sign up for this?
They can sign up at shootingsportsfantasycamp.com.
That's shootingsportsfantasycamp.com. Again, shootingsportsfantasycamp.com. If you want to be a better shooter, this is the camp for you. Tisma, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio. Sometimes it's okay if you're loud. Sometimes it's best if you're not. Silent Strike offers the quieter performance. Silent Strike is the world's only functioning .223 subsonic ammunition. When you need both performance and stealth, no matter the situation, Silent Strike is the best performance you'll never hear. Find out more at AllegianceAmmo.com.
Plain meat is boring, and any cook worth their salt knows seasoning that meat is important. That's why a spice set from the Micklich Company store in Spokane is the perfect gift for the meat griller in your life. For only $19.95, you can get one of 4 gift boxes, each with 4 different spices, sauces, or rubs. Choose from the Barbecue Blends gift pack, the Hot and Spicy gift box, the Grill and Roast gift set, or the General Seasonings gift pack. Pick them up at the Micklich Company store at 130 North Stone in Spokane, or order online at SpokaneSpice.com.
Fishing, hunting, boating, and the rest of the great outdoors 24/7, 365 on Reno Viola Outdoors Radio. Download the free Reno Viola's Outdoor Radio app or visit WRVOradio.com online.
In Humboldt County, something wild happens in the wintertime. Thousands of visitors swim underwater to Humboldt shores, seeking partners of the opposite sex. We're talking steelhead. January to March, more here than anywhere else in California. And we celebrate with fishing and photo contests and $10,000 in cash prizes. Special access, spawning and restoration tours, films and festivities for the entire family. So drive, fly, or swim underwater to Humboldt Steelhead Days.
Master Marine in Mount Vernon, Washington specializes in fishing and fun. We offer 7 brands of boats, including Osprey, Sea Sport, Sea Dory, Tomcat, Lunt, Weldcraft, and Thunderjet. We also offer Suzuki, Yamaha, and Mercury motors. In other words, no matter what you're fishing for, we've got the boat for you. Drop by Master Marine at 330 East Blackburn Road in Mount Vernon to see what's on the lot, or go online to mastermarine.com. That's mastermarine.com.
Did you check out this month's edition of Northwest Sportsman Magazine? If you didn't, you're missing out, because it's the best publication out there that covers the fishing and hunting scene, not only in Washington State, but in the entire Northwest. Northwest Sportsman Magazine has got great writers and great content you need to have to be successful. Northwest Sportsman Magazine is the publication for you. Find out more at nwsportsmanmag.com or pick up a copy at a newsstand near you.
Planning your next hunting trip in Oregon or Washington? Our Rams Game Management Unit maps show you the big picture on where you're going, as well as the topography and road trail information to help you get there. And they've got public land information, Game Management Unit boundaries, and UTM information for GPS users to keep you out of trouble. Rams Game Management Unit maps are a great planning tool for safe and successful hunts. Look for Rams maps at your local sporting goods store, or see our entire line of maps on the web at bigskymaps.com. Looking for the safest, most stable riding boat on the market? Welcome to Stabicraft. Born in New Zealand, Stabicraft has a built-in reputation for making the most seaworthy boats on the market. Heavy gauge aluminum chambered boats with models ranging from 14 to 29 feet in a variety of configurations to suit all your needs. Check out the all-new 2750 center cab, a walk-around design for the Northwest market, and packed with industry-leading features to suit all types of fishing, allowing you to adventure with confidence. Book a test ride today at stabicraft.com.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
He said we're right on him. Without missing a beat, you'll drop your line down to 42 feet. If you don't screw up, it won't be long. Someone in this boat's gonna sing Fish On. Fish on, fish on. Do it by the book, don't take too long. Set the hook.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is sponsored by the Alaska Sporting Journal. It's the monthly publication that covers the fishing and hunting scene throughout the 49th state. And that music that you heard leading into this, one of my favorite songs, is by Mark Keller. It's called Fish On. And speaking of Fish On, we're talking to Gary Kernan with Alaska Fish On Charters. Gary, welcome to the show.
Morning.
So, Gary, where are you located in Alaska, and what do you offer for anglers?
We are on the Kenai Peninsula. We are 150 miles below Anchorage, so people would fly into Anchorage and then get a rental car and then drive down. It's a 3-hour drive.
And the fishing that you offer, tell our listeners about that.
We fish for kings, reds, silver salmon, pink salmon on every even year, and we also do a trophy trout fishery. So, we offer halibut, lingcod, rockfish, whatever's out there in that great deep blue out there.
All right. Well, let's start off with the saltwater and the halibut. Two things. How big do they get? And what are the possession limits up there when it comes to Alaska fishing for halibut?
Well, the halibut will get up to, the record's 400 and some pounds, but, mostly we try to target those fish that are between 30 and 70 pounds. Those are the best eaters.
Oh, yeah.
You start getting up above 100, and they can get really chalky tasting, they're females.
So how many halibut can you take home?
You're allowed 2 halibut. Right now, the law states that you can get 1 under 28 inches and then 1 over. So your over can be any size. We try to focus. We'll go out and try to get the big ones first. So we focus and try to get those, up to 100 pounds. And I'm not discouraging anybody of a 100-pounder. I'm just saying that it just depends on what their diet is. It can be great taste. I've caught 160-pounders, and the meat, if it's really jelly looking, it's a great eating fish. But when they start getting real chalky looking, it can happen to the little ones. So we focus on one big one, and then if we've got time, we'll go after the little one, which under 28 is like 7 pounds. So we'll just try to go out there and get you that one big one that you dream of.
Okay, so we're going to go halibut fishing. Once we get our halibut, what are we doing after that? Red snapper?
Well, yeah, we do a combo out of Homer. What it involves is 2 halibut, 2 lingcod, 4 black bass, and 1 yelloweye. The yelloweye is a red snapper,
sure,
which is probably the best eating fish I've ever had. You can catch a 25-pounder to be 120 years old.
Well, I'm going to argue with you on that one, Gary, because when it comes to fish, lingcod is delicious. Folks, if you've never had lingcod before, think of it as the walleye of the saltwater. It is great eating fish.
Argue all you want, but I prefer the red snapper.
All right. We're going to have we'll agree to disagree on this one, Gary.
One thing I want to keep listeners informed of is Alaska has the second largest tides in the world. So when they're wanting to book these halibuts or any of these ocean fishing things, they should call first to just see what the tides are going to be. Like this year, we're getting -6 tides, and with that, you have a 23.7 high. So you have to add the 6 to the 23. Now you've got 30 feet of water out there moving.
Wow.
So, I don't want people coming up here and then all of a sudden they go, what the heck? I had 5 minutes to fish. Yeah, you should call, find out what the best tides are. They're normally the first week, the third week, and the very last week you get some good tides.
Gary, I've talked to a lot of charter operators before. You are the first person to ever bring that up, and thank you for doing so. That's some great advice.
They like to sell them dates.
No, I get it.
Fill them dates, but I'm all about getting people fish.
Well, let's turn our attention to the freshwater because you've got a lot of salmon species you're fishing for, and the fall trout too. Tell our listeners about that.
Well, in the spring, we'll go out, and our very first fishery starts out in the saltwater. We'll troll for the kings as they're heading to the rivers. We'll troll down off of Deep Creek and that. And they're spawners, but we also have a mixed bag of feeder kings that are out there. They come up from Canada and stuff, and they feed in the bays. And so we target those in May and that, and then when June rolls around, we start fishing the rivers. So our king fishery is from May till the end of July. I really enjoyed the early season ones. We go down in some of the smaller rivers, and we fish with fly rods, and it's a blast. You get to chase these fish up and down the rivers. It's just a lot of fun, but you will be doing some walking. I've always been that way since I was a little guy, just like to run up and down the rivers chasing fish. Then we switch over to the silvers come August and September, which August you're allowed 2 a day for the silvers. In September, they up it to 3 a day, and it's just phenomenal. You got the fall colors, and it's just a blast. And what we'll do is a lot of times in the fall, if it's good fishing, we'll catch our limit of silvers, and then we go chase trout the rest of the day. You'll catch 30, 40 trout per person.
Wow.
There's really not a retention on the trout. You're allowed 1 rainbow under 18 and 1 dolly under 18 inches. But it's just a blast. It's a good bragging thing. Bring your buddy, yeah, I whooped your butt, I got a 20-pound trout. And we do get them up to 20 pounds, but an average is 2 to 5 pounds.
That is amazing. That sounds like an absolute hoot. So, Gary, one other salmon species we need to talk about, sockeye salmon, maybe the best eaten salmon there is out there.
Yeah, there we go again, John, arguing about the best eating salmon. So it's the highest in omega-3, but I prefer the king and the silver over it. But the best times, we have two different runs. They come up in June, and about the middle of June to right up until the 5th of July, we have a run of sockeye that come in, and it's a blast. You get on the shore with the fly rods, and it's just a blast. But our biggest run comes from about the middle of July till about the middle of August. And it's just a nonstop action. It's crazy. So if you like crowds, come on up in July. But if you don't like crowds, come up in June, August, sometime there.
Sounds fantastic. Why don't you tell our listeners about the lodge, where they're going to stay at, what they're going to eat?
Well, all of our units, we have cabins on the river that all consist of kitchens and, full bathrooms, the whole 9 yards. They have all utensils for cooking, barbecuers. I don't know what you guys think we live like up here, but we don't live in igloos. We have lots of restaurants. We have super Walmarts and some of the finest food. I mean, you go 4 miles down the road and you get some of the finest. I mean, anything from Mexican to Chinese to Greek Italian, and you name it, we've got it. I mean, you can go down here and split a prime rib that two people can't eat for $50.
It sounds like an absolute hoot to me. So
so we also have a lodge overlooking the inlet, but it's just got kitchen units in it and that. And a lot of people don't feel like cooking when they're done fishing, so they just run down to the restaurant. I know there's a lot of outfitters up here that offer meals, but I just feel that save a little money. We have super affordable prices, and for the amount of money that you're saving, you can go eat prime rib every day.
I like it a lot. Gary, we have got to go, but we need to give folks your website so they can book a trip with you.
That's AlaskaFishOn.com. Very easy to remember.
Absolutely. AlaskaFishOn.com. Just like the song you heard at the beginning of the segment, it's AlaskaFishOn.com. Check it out and book a trip for some great fishing. It's AlaskaFishOn.com. Gary, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
You have a good day.
Alaska Fish on Charters has 4 saltwater boats and 5 river boats, along with the best guides to run them. We've been in business for over 24 years fishing the Kenai Peninsula waters. I guarantee great prices and smiles on your faces when you leave the Great Alaska. We fish king salmon, red salmon, silver salmon, and pink salmon, and trophy trout in the Kenai River. Our saltwater boats fish for halibut, lingcod, rockfish, and salmon. Don't miss out on this trip of a lifetime with Alaska Fish on Charters.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Sometimes it's okay if you're loud. Sometimes it's best if you're not. Silent Strike offers the quieter performance. Silent Strike is the world's only functioning .223 subsonic ammunition. When you need both performance and stealth, no matter the situation, Silent Strike is the best performance you'll never hear. Find out more at allegianceammo.com.
Tillamook Bay is considered the greatest fishing experience on the west coast for fall Chinook salmon and winter steelhead, and Dungeness crab is plentiful. 5 major rivers connect with the ocean on the Tillamook coast. It's not unusual to snag a 40 to 50 pounder. Go out in a boat or stand on a riverbank or dock. Try fishing from a dory boat and experience the thrill of a beach launch and landing. Use spinners, sand shrimp, or salmon eggs to lure them. The fish will line up to grab your bait. Go to tillamookcoast.com/fishing to find guides and places to stay.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Next up on our Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Anton Jones. He's the owner of Daryl and Dad's Guide Service. He fishes Lake Chelan in central Washington, and the fishing in the winter is very good, especially for Mackinac. Anton, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Anton, winter months, this is really the time of year where you get into the big lake trout, isn't it?
Yes. The last state record was set in February, and before that we had one set in December. So we think that it's a prime time to get big fish.
And when we're talking big fish, we're talking big fish up to 30 pounds, aren't we?
Yes, it's a possibility. I mean, that's obviously not an everyday thing, but I consider big fish on Lake Chelan anything over 10, and anything over 20 is a true trophy and a rare fish. But there's 30-pound capacity. We think that there's a 40-pounder swimming around in there.
Wow. So when it comes to fishing for Mackinac in Lake Chelan, take just about 60 seconds here and tell our listeners how you go about doing it.
Okay, if you don't come away with anything else, stay within 5 feet of the bottom at all times. The fish have been conditioned since they hatched to feed on mysis shrimp. So whatever you present it close to the bottom. We like to use what we call a Jeff Drift rig, which is Max Lure spinner blade with tapered beads and dual hook tandem with it, baited with a piece of pike minnow, and we troll it slow near the bottom.
Well, that's simple enough. It sounds simple enough, but actually, folks, if you ever fish with Anton, you'll see he's a really busy guy because you're using downriggers. He's constantly adjusting them because, as you know, the bottom is not a static thing. The bottom changes in terms of the elevation. So you have to really pay attention, but Anton knows his stuff. If you want to figure out how to catch Mackinac, go fishing with him or his guy, Jeff Witkowski. You can give him a call at 509-687-0709 or go to his website, DarylAndDads.com. Anton, thanks so much for this great tip.
Thanks, John.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business. You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you by the American Shooting Journal. It is the publication that covers the shooting scene and the firearms scene throughout the United States of America. Look for it at a newsstand near you. We've got an incredible guest coming your way. We are talking to the man, the myth, the legend, Tred Barta himself. Tred, great pleasure to have you on America Outdoors Radio today.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Get your helmet on, get in the game. My name is Tred Barta, and things are not easy, but I keep going. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely. You've been an inspiration to a lot of people for several years now. Tred, you've got a new book coming out. Tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, thank you, John. The name of the book is Driven, and it took me a year and a half to write. It's about my life history from a young boy in prep school. It has to do with the U.S. Olympic biathlon team and my hunting and fishing exploits, but it also chronicles the canyon fishing on the continental shelf, as I was one of the first pioneers to really go far offshore for big-eye tuna, swordfish, and marlin. And it covers some hunting, mostly fishing, but it also talks a lot about life and the struggle I've had now being confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So it's a great book. It's going to, if I can plug it, it's going to be on bartaway.com. On just about January 1st, it will be available, and that's bartaway.com, and I hope you buy it, and I hope you enjoy it.
So can folks pre-order this book now and kind of say, hey, I've got a Christmas gift for you?
No, they can't. Unfortunately, it won't be available for just about January 1st, and we're going to miss that Christmas season, but certainly can be bought for a late Christmas present.
Absolutely. So for all of you who are into the belated Christmas gifts, Driven, the book by Tred Barta will be a really good choice for you.
Oh, dear, belated.
So, Tred, question for you, and I've never thought of asking this before. How did you get into the outdoors media industry?
It was before the incidences that put me in a wheelchair, and I was eating a tuna fish salad at the Hampton Bays Diner, and I met a gentleman who said, I read your book, you'd be great on TV. And I said, well, I don't know about that, but I have a lot of people. I'm an outdoor writer already, and I got an agent. His name was Mark Friedman of Surge Inc., and he got me on the best and worst of Tread Barta, the original show.
Sure.
That went all the way from Outdoor Life Network to NBC Sports, but he got me on the best damn sports show on Fox. And that's how it all started, and the show took off, and 10 years of history behind me. I think it was a good show.
It was a good show. I remember watching it myself, always enjoyed it. But
coming back.
What?
I'm coming back. Can't talk about it, but you're going to see me again.
Oh, that is a teaser. That is a teaser. All right, well, you heard it here first. At least you kind of heard it here first. Tread will be back on the air, so that's good to know. But, you know, how many years ago was it that you got spinal cancer or cervical spinal cancer?
It's been 7 years. I was riding my paint horse Badger up in the mountains. It was a beautiful day. I was about to leave for Alaska to do a black bear hunt and a grizzly hunt with the longbow and wooden arrows. My left foot started to go. My knee went. Before I knew it, I was in a helicopter and an ambulance, and I was in the hospital for about 5 months. They gave me a week to live 3 times, and I had a very rare blood cancer that made the blood thick, and it blew up my spinal cord, and I am now paralyzed from my chest down. And I'm in a wheelchair for the rest of my life with no chance of ever getting out. And everybody, I made the simple decision, either hurry up living or hurry up dying. And I decided to live.
I noticed, and I really think, Tread, that is why you're such an inspiration to so many of us that recreate outdoors, that hunt and fish, because you're doing it under these extreme conditions, confined to a wheelchair. And most people, paralyzed from the chest down, would think, well, my hunting days are over, but somehow you managed to pull it off. How do you go about your hunting trips these days?
Well, I can pull the longbow, I could shoot the rifle and the shotgun, but I have to be strapped into my wheelchair because I have no stomach muscles. And as a result of that, I can move my arms and my head, and I can wheel around, and I'm very active, but I have to be strapped in a certain way. And then it's just a matter of saying, I can do this. I cannot do any of these sports, hunting, fishing, boating, without help. And it's very, very hard to ask for help when you've been giving help to other people. But I think my mission today is to inspire others and really take the attitude that never ever give up and be the most that God gave you. And all of us have a hard time in life. But I can tell you this, when they told me I had 1 week to live, I looked back and I asked the following questions, and I want all of you to listen. I had 1 week to live. I was going to die. And I sat on the porch with my dog and I said, have I been honorable? Have I been on time? Have I been a good person? Have I helped other people? Do I have honor and code? And the answer was yes. And with that, I had the strength, and a miracle happened, that I pulled out of this, and today they cannot find cancer in Tread Barta. So it's an amazing story. And today I want to help people by doing things and inspiring them by merely saying, if Tread can do it, I can do it. And that's basically my life message now.
Well, it is a powerful message indeed. And folks, you can follow Tread on Facebook. He posts there often and very personal posts too. He is not shy about sharing the struggles that he's going through. He also shares the victories that he has as well. And I would highly recommend following him there.
Really allow people to go to bartaway.com because things that I'm selling or endorsing, but also new content is being written there all the time. bartaway.com. But, one thing I'd like to say to you is you've done a marvelous job expanding your stations, and it really is an outdoor show. John, you've done a good job, and I want to congratulate you because I've been following it very carefully.
Well, Tread, that's high praise indeed, and it means a lot to me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're going to grow and grow. You're getting bigger all the time.
Well, I'm working on it, and we're not just talking about the waistline either, Tread.
Yeah, I hear you. It's interesting, though. So many of us today get lazy. Everything around us is to make things easier. We have grown men that don't know how to change oil in a car, don't know what a distributor is, don't know how to fix anything with a screwdriver and don't know basic carpentry skills. And further than that, they don't have basic survival skills. And it is my opinion in the circle of life, and I am a believer, everybody. I believe in Jesus Christ, my Savior. But I believe that nature, the outdoor world, teaches us more about ourselves than anything. And life, John, you know on your show, is very perishable.
Yes.
A wooden arrow can extinguish a moose or an elk at 20 yards. A wooden arrow shot by a longbow. And it was, some people say, wow, what an animal I shot. But a lot of other people, in reference to after they harvest the animal, no matter what weapon they take, is how precious life is and how you have to accomplish as much as you can in your life and help other people because you have the power of life. And it's a very good message.
It really is. Tred, we have got to go, but thank you so much for sharing this message. Again, this is Tred Barta that we're talking to. Get his new book. It's called Driven. It's coming out January 1st. It'll be available on Amazon.com and lots of other outlets as well.
BartaWay.com.
BartaWay.com. BartaWay.com is the other website to go to, and you'll find a lot more from Tred there, too. Tred, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yes, sir.
Everyone knows Kodiak Island is one of the best places in Alaska to go fishing. You can pay a lot of money to go with a guide or stay at a lodge, or you can do it yourself. There are over 100 miles of roadway on Kodiak Island leading to streams and lakes full of trout, salmon, and char. How to get there? With Budget of Kodiak. Located at the airport, we offer daily and weekly car rentals, as well as discounts for military and AARP members. Contact Budget of Kodiak and explore.
Homer Ocean Charters, offering premium halibut and salmon fishing since 1979 in Homer, Alaska. We also offer kayaking, hiking, remote cabin rentals, and water taxi service to all destinations in Kachemak Bay State Park. Call 907-235-6212 for reservations. That's 907-235-6212. Again, that's 907-235-6212 for Homer Ocean Charters.
Hughes Craft is the Pacific Northwest best-selling boat. It's a family fishing boat that has been providing the most safety, fishability, and the best value to Northwest boaters since 1948. Hughes Craft's welded aluminum boats are built for serious fishermen with plenty of room for fighting fish, not the rest of the crew. Our state-of-the-art design allows for pure fishing functionality and the durability to last season after season, year after year, and decade after decade. To find the Hughes Craft dealer nearest you, visit HughesCraft.com.
Invasive species are organisms that are non-native to an ecosystem. They outcompete native species and reduce the quality of our resources. We can all prevent the spread by following the simple clean, drain, and dry steps. Clean all watercraft, trailers, and outdoor equipment. Drain all water from boat live wells, motors, ballast tanks, and bilges. And lastly, thoroughly dry all equipment and gear. Do your part to preserve our amazing outdoor heritage for future generations.
Now's the time for great winter fishing near Pateros. You can experience the fun of ice fishing at Patterson and Rat Lakes and terrific fishing for trout and walleye on Rufus Woods Reservoir. Howard's on the River in Pateros is the perfect place to set up your base camp for winter fishing adventures. Howard's on the River is next to the best restaurant in the region, and the convenience store has everything you need. Book your reservation at howardsonthe.river.com.
Plain meat is boring, and any cook worth their salt knows seasoning that meat is important. That's why a spice set from the Miklich Company store in Spokane is the perfect gift for the meat griller in your life. For only $19.95, you can get one of 4 gift boxes, each with 4 different spices, sauces, or rubs. Choose from the Barbecue Blends gift pack, the Hot and Spicy gift box, the Grill and Roast gift set, or the General Seasonings gift pack. Pick them up at the Miklich Company store at 130 North Stone in Spokane, or order online at SpokaneSpice.com.
Get away to Riverview RV Park and Resort, the Olympic Peninsula's new year-round destination. Riverview RV Park is a 30-plus acre facility adjacent to a public boat launch at the confluence of the Bogoshiel and Solduck rivers. Famous salmon and steelhead waters combined with ocean beaches and the Port of La Push are minutes away. We have large full hookup RV sites, a comfortable furnished cabin, and acres of tent camping as well as a brand new guest shower and laundry. Find out more at ForksRiverviewRVPark.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. We start off with some sad news. A big man in the outdoors media passed away last week. His name? Wade Bourne, a 69-year-old outdoors writer, the former host of Ducks Unlimited Television, and host of Wired to Fish and Wired to Hunt Radio, short features covering a wide spectrum of the outdoors, heard on some 280 radio stations in the U.S. According to Frank Sargent, editor of the Fishing Wire and a longtime friend of Wade's, he won a ton of awards for his writing and broadcast. Wade lived on a fine old farm near Clarksville, Tennessee that had been in his family since before the Civil War. Wade was cutting down a Christmas tree on that farm on December 15th when he was felled by a heart attack. Rest in peace, Wade, and thanks for sharing the outdoors with us as long as you did. Your voice will be missed. In other news, you've heard of those online dating and hookup sites like Match.com, eHarmony, and Tinder, right? Well, what if they had one for coyote hunters? It turns out one state does. From the Outdoor Daily News, we find out the Coyote Catalog, a statewide effort designed to connect coyote hunters and trappers with landowners who are dealing with coyotes in their areas, is open for the winter. A partnership between the North Dakota Department of Agriculture and the North Dakota Game and Fish Department, the Coyote Catalog can be a good way for hunters and trappers to locate new places to go. This, according to Game and Fish Director Terry Steinwand. Agriculture Commissioner Doug Goering encourages landowners, especially farmers and ranchers who have problems with coyotes attacking livestock, to sign up for the Coyote Catalog, stating hunting and trapping are some of the many tools available to mitigate predator risk. This past season, nearly 40 landowners participated in the Coyote Catalog, along with more than 200 hunters and trappers. Throughout the winter, hunters and trappers receive information on participating landowners, and they should contact those landowners to make arrangements for a date. A hunt. The Coyote Catalog will remain active through March 31st of 2017. Landowners can sign up on the North Dakota Department of Ag website, while hunters and trappers sign up at the State Game and Fish website. Heading to the western U.S., have you fished for lake trout before, also known as Mackinaw? You'll generally find them in deep water lakes, and in many cases, you can fish for them year-round. If you're willing to bundle up and brave the cold this winter, there are a few hot spots to consider. One of them, Lake Tahoe. According to the Nevada Department of Fish and Game, Lake Tahoe is the place to be if you're fishing from a boat in northern Nevada. Anglers have been reporting good success catching Mackinaw in the 3 to 5 pound range. Anglers are concentrating 150 to 350 feet deep with white dodgers and minnows, and there's reports of fish being caught from shore using spinners. Lake Chelan, located in central Washington, is another good bet. This 55-mile-long lake kicks out lake trout all year long, most of them hugging the bottom anywhere from 140 to 400 feet deep. Winter is often the best time to pick up big fish. That's what local jeweler and avid angler Phil Collier did in 2013 when he reeled in a new Washington State record, a 35-pound, 10-ounce monster. Flathead Lake is another good choice. This scenic lake in northwest Montana sponsors Mac Days in both the spring and the fall to help control the number of Mackinaw that are in this lake. This is another lake where at certain times of year you can catch good-sized Mackinaw right off the docks in Polson at the south end of the lake, though most folks are trolling or jigging for them in the deep water. And heading north to Alaska, Lake Louise, according to the folks at AlaskaTroutFishing.net, this lake, northwest of Glen Allen in southeast Alaska, is a good bet any time of year. Ice fishing is popular throughout the winter months, and there are a couple of lakefront lodges that provide year-round accommodations, as well as a very nice campground with boat launch facilities when the lake's not frozen.
It's time for the Trail of Shame.
Shame, shame on you. Shame, shame on you.
Have you heard of those realistic robotic deer used to catch poachers who will fire at them from cars on the side of the road? From the Outdoor Hub, we learned the Illinois Department of Natural Resources bought one of these and found out they worked really, really good. How good? Let me put it this way. 2 officers deployed the deer decoy on the side of the road one morning, and within 5 minutes, that's right, 5 minutes, lead began to fly. According to the agency's Facebook post about this, a 13-year-old boy from Greene County, Illinois, was the one who pulled the trigger. But before you go calling this kid a snot-nosed punk, it was actually the boy's grandfather who directed him to shoot the deer. Nice influence, right? So roadside hunters or poachers, consider this a warning. The next time you pull over and reach for your gun, take a second glance, because you might not be shooting at the real thing, and there might be somebody watching you. Oh, and Grandpa, as for you, this week, you are walking our trail of shame.
Shame on you.
Next up on America Outdoors Radio, I don't know about you, but when it comes to planning outdoors expeditions or actually going out there and scouting or just hiking and hunting, I love to have a map in my hands. Call me a Luddite, but I don't necessarily trust that my cell phone or smartphone is going to be working when I need it to be working. That's why it's nice to have a physical map. Some of the better ones you're going to find are produced by Big Sky Maps. With us here to tell you about some great maps for hunters is Wendell Unruh. He is the owner of Big Sky Maps. Wendell, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Good to be with you.
So, Wendell, you've got some brand new maps that hunters are going to love, especially in the states of Washington and Oregon, and I think Idaho as well, right?
That is correct. Yes, we cover those 3 states in game management unit maps, and they're great maps for the hunter.
So these maps, obviously, they show game management units, but they show a lot more than that, don't they?
Yes, they do. You know, when you're looking for maps, you want to have all the information available right at your fingertips. And so these maps, cover the whole unit on one map in Washington and Oregon. They have the hunting unit boundaries on them. They do show the public-private lands. They do show topography for elevations and all the Forest Service roads and trail information. So they're just the map that you need.
Okay, and this is for all 3 of our northwestern states in terms of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. How does this differ from other maps that are out there that hunters might use?
First of all, in Washington and Oregon, they cover the whole unit in one map. So you don't need to have multiple maps to cover your area. That is the main difference that we have.
All right, and again, these are the RAMS Game Management Unit maps. That's what they're called, the RAMS Game Management Unit maps. Look for them for Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. And I know hunters in a lot of these states will go to other states to hunt, so great tool there. You make more than these RAMS maps, though, don't you?
To clarify, John, that in Idaho, we have 1 to 100,000 scale quadrangles that cover the same information on the maps, but they're not by unit.
Okay, but moving on to your other maps, because, you've got these 3 maps, great resources for hunters, but for just general outdoors recreationalists, you've got a whole bunch of other maps covering a bunch of states.
Yes, we do. We do have county maps in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. We've had those for years that are good for people that are route drivers or hunters or fishermen or whatever they may need. We do also have recreational maps that are put out by other producers of a variety of states that show campgrounds and other kind of recreational kind of information on them. And
I understand you even have some raised relief maps for Alaska and California.
Yes, it's kind of an interesting thing. This is a company out of Ukraine that's put these out. We do have Alaska and California and one that covers the whole United States. And these are small little maps that are plastic, that are raised relief, that show the heights of the mountains and the low of the valleys and so on. So they're really an interesting kind of a map. They're small, like I say, about 6 by 9, 8 by 10, something like that, to cover the area.
I would imagine that school teachers, in particular, would love to have some of these in their classroom. But moving on, we've kind of done an overview now of what kind of maps you offer. The next question is where do you find your maps? Where can people buy them?
We do have our maps in a lot of the retail sporting goods stores in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but you can find us on the web at bigskymaps.com.
Are you in the big chain stores like Cabela's and Sportsman's Warehouse, too?
Yes, we are.
All right, so that's Big Sky Maps. Whether you're after the RAMS Game Management Unit maps or the hunting map for Idaho or some of the recreational maps, go ahead and look for them at sporting goods stores like Sportsman's Warehouse or Cabela's, or go online to bigskymaps.com. That's bigskymaps.com. get a quality map in your hands and use it for this hunting season. Wendell, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
All right. Thank you, John.
We hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast. We'd like to welcome some new listeners to the show this week, tuning in to KKFT FM 99.1 Talk Radio out of Reno and broadcasting to Carson City, Lake Tahoe, and Truckee, California. We are thrilled to be sharing the great outdoors with you on Saturday mornings. Be sure to support our sponsors, the publishers of 4 great monthly outdoor magazines, any of which would make a great Christmas gift as a subscription for the coming year. Those magazines, Northwest Sportsman Magazine, California Sportsman Magazine, the Alaska Sporting Journal, and the American Shooting Journal. It's time to go, but I do hope you have a Merry Christmas, one filled with family, friends, and happiness. And don't forget the real reason for the season either. This is truly a time of hope, and I hope that the rest of this year and the year to come is a joyful one for you, and that you will get to spend a lot of time doing the things you love to do outside. Merry Christmas, God bless, and we'll talk again next week.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
We're back with Anton Jones again with Daryl and Dad's Guide Service, and this time we're talking about kokanee fishing on Lake Chelan. And Anton, I really think that when it comes to kokanee fishing, Lake Chelan's got to be one of the most consistent fisheries you're going to find, and one of the earliest to turn on in the year.
Yes, our guide Jeff Witkowski kind of pioneered this winter fishery, and this year he actually started finding pods of fish as early as November, which we used to not even try to fish for them until March. Of course, that's changed over the last 5 or 6 years, and now he's been on them since November.
And what's the size of the kokanee in Lake Chelan right now?
Oh, boy. This year, it appears most of our fish have been 12 to 14 inches. They're smaller fish, and we haven't seen many of those bigger ones, but the lure for Chelan has been over that last 5 or 6 years. There's been lots of jumbo-sized kokanee, those fish that stretch up to, and sometimes even a touch over 18 inches. But the other part of it is there's really good numbers. It's tricky to find them, but when you do, they're great numbers.
And how do you go about catching them?
This winter fishery is unlike our spring surface fishery where you just troll around near the surface with a wetting ring and bait it with some corn and go. This is a little bit more specialized. We're looking on our electronics for suspended schools or pods of fish, and we troll our gear in them or just above them. And the gear that we're using now is mostly hot orange, Max Lures, mini cha-cha squitters, baited with corn, scented with bloody tuna.
All right. Well, there you go. If you want to go fishing for kokanee or fishing for Mackinac and Lake Chelan, it's a beautiful lake, beautiful fishery. Anton and Jeff, they've got some great boats. You will stay warm, I promise you. And I'm pretty sure you're going to catch lots of fish, too. Just go to DarylAndDads.com. It's DarylAndDads.com, or give Anton a call at 509-687-0709. That's 509-687-0709. Thanks so much, Anton.
Thanks, John, for having me.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
Backcountry hunters and anglers, the men and women working hard to keep public lands in public hands. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.